Oh boy, this show continues to be the absolute definition of mid this season. And yes, we are talking about the Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy. Now, before I get into my review and reaction of episode 3 and 4 of this show, if you end up liking the video or getting some value out of it, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this video to never miss out on any content from me and to support this video and my channel as a whole. Deeply appreciated. Now, to get into the content here, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now, I know in my last video where I covered episode 1 and 2, I said this show was very mid, and after episode 3 and 4, it continues to be extremely mid. Now, I made copious amounts of notes because I end up doing that when I have questions and I don't understand things or things seem stupid, and there is a lot of that in this show. To start off with episode 3, we have Celia waking up in bed after Leo carried her to bed after the whole shower scene at the end of episode 2. She wakes up and, she finds out that she is actually an undead. She is a vampire queen even. So good for her. The highest rank of undead possible. I guess that was a lucky resurrection. But she takes this exceedingly calmly and exceedingly casually. Like, dude, you just found out you are actually dead. You are no longer alive, you are an undead. Like, you are no longer, let's say, human, for the lack of a better word. And you are just casually like, okay, I guess that's fine. Like, okay, dude, what? I mean, you are a teenager still as well, right? Would you not freak out or have some more of a reaction other than, oh, I guess I am an undead vampire queen now. That's cool. It's like, no response, no feeling, no anything. I mean, that seems exceedingly unrealistic if she is who she appears to be. So I have a lot of questions about that. And even after this fact where she confirms what she is now and is told what she is now, she just seems totally fine with it, even after. It's not like she isn't in denial or we get any sort of scene where she finally accepts it and starts having a breakdown or any sort of reaction to it. She's just like, okay, that's cool, casual, carry on, and never really mulls on that ever again in these next 2 episodes. To me, that is very poor character writing because I can't imagine that is a proper reaction she should be having here, especially considering that this entire thing, this entire situation is unheard of because people don't know about magic in this time and people don't know about like undead anything. Like, that's not around anymore. So that would be even more bizarre to her, I would imagine. But anyways, let's not care about it. It's not that type of show. You're not gonna get deep character development or anything of that sort here, so just move on. But this sets the tone for the next 2 episodes and a lot of annoyances I have with it. We find out as well that his gold is useless because it's a pure credit society now. So, well, I guess they finally got to cashless societies in this world. Poor bastards. In the later stages of the 3rd episode, we have this fight scene, finally, between the standard douchebag antagonist with his mind control weapon and Celia and Leo. And here is another big issue that I had with this episode and I have with this show so far. Now, the fight scene itself was extremely plain. A lot of stills, a lot of just sound effects, but no real action, no real flow of anything. It's just like a very boring and plain and kind of useless action scene. Not to mention, it barely shows Leo doing anything. Like, all the glory goes to Celia and her manifesting her own holy sword as well. Though I'm not quite sure if it is a holy weapon or not, as maybe it's a vampire thing. I don't know. We might never find out. But I don't really care about seeing Celia half-ass kick the ass of this antagonist, this extremely cardboard antagonist as well. Like, dude, he has a mind control weapon and has like a harem of girls who are like mindless and obey his every order, and he just casually, to showcase his power, puts his hand behind him to grab 2 handfuls of 2 different girls' chests. And they're like, ugh, like, what? Is that how you flex? Huh? Weird flex, bro, but okay. I guess you're just like a super standard cardboard antagonist that has no personality to him at all except being a very minor obstacle for our main girl character here to overcome. But yes, as I said, I don't care about Celia fighting these things. I want to watch Leo. I want to watch Leo mop the floor with this antagonist no matter how boring and cardboard he is. I want to see Leo just absolutely wrecking everything he comes across because he can, and seeing the surprising face faces of everyone and the shocked faces of everyone of what he can do, even if he might try to hide it after the fact. Like, this is a power fantasy show, right? It's not an isekai show per se, but it has a lot of the standard isekai tropes, and it is definitely a power fantasy. And in a power fantasy, we want to see our main character, who is OP as heck, show off and be OP as heck. But Leo has not done that at all yet. He's barely gotten to fight at all, or shown his power at all. And we are 1/3 of the way through the season. Anyways, Celia beats the people, beats this antagonist guy, snaps his wand in half, both physically and mentally, I suppose. I'm not sure if that breaks his holy weapon permanently or not, because the mind control seems to break after that. So does that mean he doesn't have a weapon anymore, or how does that work? No idea. Later in the episode, in episode 4, we get introduced to the other members that we haven't yet before this time of the 18th platoon, Celia's platoon. We have the standard samurai girl that is there with a tragic backstory, as usual. And, of course, the other purple-haired girl that is the analytic person there also has a tragic backstory, which is expected, I guess. Everyone having tragic backstories in this one. We also find out the demon lord maid is a tsundere, so, of course, we had to have one of those. But this also brings me to one of my most hated aspects of this show that they keep implementing, and that is Leo acting like an actual 10-year-old when seeing just half naked or even just like somewhat not primly dressed girls. Like, dude, again, this is a 1,000-whatever-year-old undead demon lord, demon king. He's all-powerful, he has seen it all, done it all. Like, he should not. No matter your stupid explanation of, well, he is technically in a 10-year-old's bodies of hormones and things. No matter your so-called explanations, he should not have these sort of reactions like a 10-year-old boy. It makes him seem absolutely idiotic and like a kid, and he is not. He is anything but. I don't know why they force this. It's so weird to me, and it's not enjoyable. Like, I don't want to see him be all shy and embarrassed, like, oh my god, I see cleavage, haha. Dude, that's not why I'm here. Stop it. Anyways, outside that rant, we find out as Leonis, the hero, before he was killed for human greed, basically, because some local lord didn't want him upsetting the power balance. Classic. And then this Celia character basically took him as an undead and taught him and put him as a, high-ranking member of the new Demon Lord army or something along those lines. But this entire sort of, let's say, story or world building is very lackluster so far, as I have many, many questions and very few answers. For example, as you find in episode 4, there is an imperial capital city somewhere, but I thought that we were told in episode 1 or 2 that this 7th Assault Garden is the last surviving bastion of humanity, they said. So does that mean that this is the only defensive fortress they have left, but they still have a massive capital city somewhere that this commanding officer is at half the year? And if that's the case, then the fortress city would not be the last bastion of humanity, right? Or how do they define that? I don't know. No idea. That also brings a lot of questions to me of why are there so many civilians in this defensive fortress? I mean, yes, sure, it is a fortress with probably the most defenses of anything they have, but as they have a capital city somewhere, wouldn't it be better to have the civilians there, as this is a fortress city, which has as its main mission to seek out and destroy voids and whatever else, which does put it in harm's way a lot of the time. So having a ton of civilians, like way more than you need to, including tons of children, etc., in this city seems counterproductive when they are technically on a very dangerous mission, being the vanguard of humanity, so to speak. Are the civilians here because the capital doesn't have space for them? Or the capital is not really a capital, but just like a capital in name only? I have no idea, and they might never tell us. Outside of that, I have many questions as well about, okay, so this samurai girl meets this demon lord dog who is just outside the dorm here at the end of episode 4, and casually just gives it a name, and they talk about it like it's very normal to have stray dogs around, which also begs a question to me of, okay, this is a fortress city, nothing gets in or out without permission and being scanned, whatever else, so do they just have a pet industry here? Like, I thought this was like a fortress city. Like, it's mainly for a military purpose, right? But I guess they have pets. And they also have casinos, because the samurai is a gambling addict, for some reason. I mean, sure, I get people want pastimes, but again, this is a fortress city. Do you really have time and space for that sort of luxury? I guess. But this as well brings me to one of my biggest issues with this show as well, and that is outside of being a power fantasy, this is supposed to be an ecchi. And yes, you do technically see some ecchi elements, unlike Liar Liar, which basically had nothing, even though it is an ecchi. So at least they have ecchi elements in this show so far, some out of the shower shots and some cleavage shots and whatever else in yoga pants and crop tops, like sure, I guess, cool. But the problem here is that it is an ecchi, but it is made on a budget where they are not able or willing to animate it properly. Like when you watch an ecchi, or even hentai or doujin for that matter, you want, good proportions and proper detail in the right places and, well, you know what I mean. But in these sort of shows, it seems that they never actually have the animation style or the animators necessary, or the quality of animators necessary to really animate things in a detailed, let's say, lucrative, engaging, interactive, attractive way. And that makes a lot of these ecchi shots, like for example, specifically this panning shot of the purple-haired girl with the yoga outfit in the morning, which I would say is purely for the ecchi elements, right? It doesn't have any impact because, okay, sure, there's cleavage technically, wow, but outside of that, for example, the back shot that they show, it looks just weird because they have no detail. It doesn't look ecchi at all. It looks just super plain, and that defeats the purpose of even having an ecchi theme, I feel like, if they can't animate the ecchi elements properly with proper attention to detail and the things that come with that, because that's what people that really enjoy ecchi want. But anyways, I can't really say I expected more from this show so far, but there are a lot of issues with it that I am struggling to come to terms with. Another issue is just that I don't feel any character has really been built out. Sally is the only one they are slowly trying to build out, and they are slowly showing a bit of Leo's backstory, which is cool and all, but so far, all the characters seem very plain and very flat, and none of them seem super interesting. That is probably the overarching theme of this entire show, that everything is just plain, everything is just mid, and nothing is really that engaging. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with the rest of this season, because if they don't do something fast here, I'm not sure how they can redeem it, to be honest. Whew. Anyway though, I have ranted on for long enough in this video. Safe to say, while I will continue covering this show as the viewership seems to be there and the interest seems to be there, so far anyway, I can't really see much value coming out of this show for people trying to enjoy it, outside of being just a time filler and something very casual you can just watch while you're getting drunk or having chips or something on a Saturday night. But you're not going to expect a lot of value or anything really out of this, except a few ecchi shots and maybe a few nice action scenes, or attempts at good action scenes. While I had many more questions in my notes here, it's going to take an hour to go through them all, so I will end with that. Anyways though, what do you think of episode 3 and 4 of this show? Like it, hate it, leave those comments down below. And of course, any thoughts on the video, leave those comments down below as well. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to support my channel and this video. And if you want to see me cover this show weekly as well. If you haven't watched my first impressions of this show already, then you can click on this video right here to see that as well. Bye-bye.